Authors who win decide. Decision is not based on result that you've already gotten. Decision is based on you deciding to get a result that you need. Does that make sense? We want to talk more about that. We want to help you be clear and decide today. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years in business, I've had the amazingly wonderful privilege of working with brand new startup companies, stay-at-home moms, multi-billionaires, doctors, lawyers, nurses, people who are in Fortune 500 companies, and people who honestly you'll probably never hear of because the things they're doing in the world may not necessarily be something that's for you. But in their community, for the people that they're meant to serve, they are the literal life and breath for what they do. And what we do is help them be visible and valuable to the people that need who they are and what they do. You don't need the whole world to be your followers. You don't need a million gazillion, viral video watchers. There are a lot of people who have that. Um, I think of some of my favorites, some of the ones that it's like, oh man, every time the video comes up from Teddy the Golden Retriever, I love. Guy in his golden is the YouTube. You feel free to look it up. Love the stuff, but it took a while. He was getting a ton of watches on his videos long before companies like the Farmer's Dog came in and said, hey, we'd like to sponsor, we'd like to pay you money for doing it. And yeah, you can build to the point with Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, or even long form video. You can build to the point where you have something go viral and you can make a little bit of money. But the truth of the matter is that it's not a ton of money. It's not a lot. It is more based on the impact that it makes. To quote Seth Godin, I quote him all the time, this particular statement, better to have 100 raving fans than 10,000 people who could care less. I think if it was to do it today, I think he'd probably say it would be better to have 10 people truly love the video that you put out than a million people that watched it and you didn't make a dime from. You see, ultimately, it's not the result that we already have gotten that's going to make a difference. Janella, glad to have you here with us. It is the decision that we make that brings in the result. Oh, well, goodbye again. When we decide, the author who decides to write the book is the one who begins the process of writing the book. The author who decides to stop writing the book and let a story developer, an editor, a cover designer, a formatter take their book and run with it is the one who gets a completed book. The author who takes that completed book and actually publishes it, not the one who is looking around hoping to find, a deal with a publishing company or those kind of things. There are a ton of those people, and I'm not poo-pooing whether or not you want to find a publisher. But if you want to find a publisher, go to Randy. What's Randy's last name? It'll come to me in a minute. Friend of mine from LinkedIn, Randy is absolutely my go-to person. If you want to traditionally publish your book, you need an agent. And she is absolutely and always the person that I totally recommend. And I can't believe that her last name isn't coming up for me right this second, but it will here in just a minute. Anyway, it's that kind of a situation that really makes the difference because, the person who really wants to be able to, Randy Pfizer, had to look it up. It was driving me crazy. It's the person who wants to have that deal that goes out and they get an agent. and they shop their book around. It's the person who has an already in place marketing program. Because I can tell you from experience, and I've worked with, people who have gotten multi-million dollar advances from publishers. It's a lot harder to get these days, but it's possible. But the reason why is because they sent in a thing to the publisher to show them, not based on hope, wants, wishes, and dreams, but based on, here's things we've done in the past. Here's our following. Here's what we can do on a random Tuesday. On a random Tuesday, we can, we can put out a post and get 3, 4, 5,000 people to like and comment on that post on that random Tuesday about, whatever. Okay. Some of you that are my closer followers saw me just rant about postage stamps now being 78 cents. Oh my gosh. I mean, talk about an encouragement to send more emails and direct messages. I don't know what else could do that more. But 3,000 people aren't going to like and comment on that. I'll be lucky if anybody does. I wrote it because I had a moment and I shared it with the whole world, But if you're going to be published in that way, then you've got an agent and you have a marketing plan in place. You're like, this is our marketing budget. This is the reach we have. These are the things we're going to do. It's not, and I have far too many people that come to me and they're like, oh yeah, well, I've got my book down and now I'm going to find a publisher and the publisher is going to market my book for me. They're not. Publishers know nothing about marketing. They're experts at book distribution. They're experts at editing. They're experts at print production. They've got all of that down. But when it comes to marketing, their idea of marketing is, here's a piece of paper that has the list of names of people who others of our authors have gotten interviews with, gotten on TV with, had articles written about their book. Contact them and see if they'll talk to you too. That's as much as they know, think, or even want to do. That's not their business model. They are not a marketing company. They are not a PR firm. They're none of those kind of things. They want you to come to them and say, here's my followers. Here's my marketing strategy. Here's my ad budget. These are the things we're going to do. And really, ultimately, and I can tell you just flat out, what the publisher wants you to show them, here's how we're going to make you money. Not here's how I'm going to make me money. This is how we're going to make you, Mr. Publishing Company, or Mrs. Publishing Company, whichever. Is how we're going to make your company money. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want. But the person who wants to go that direction, they have all of that in place. They have that marketing strategy. They have the author agent. The book is done, completed. It's not I'm almost there. It's ready to go. It's ready to sell. All right. And even more so, the person who has a book, they should publish it. If you spend more than a couple of weeks, and there may be longer of a process beyond this, but if you're spending more than a couple of weeks just hoping to get nibbles on your book, you need to sort of start rethinking your product, your strategy. Because somebody's waiting on you. Somebody's waiting for that book. That's 2 weeks already that you could have put the book out, made it a bestseller, and began the whole process of your marketing. Bestseller is your day one launch strategy. Then what are you going to do with that? How many reviews are you going to get every single day, week, month? Ongoingly, consistently. What magazines, podcasts, television stations are you going after specifically to get them to let you come on and talk about your book? Most importantly, when you do get those, what's your call to action? What is your offer? Are you just going to give away the book for free? And if you are, does the book really fall into that landing page space where by the time they're done with it, they're like, I want to work with this person. And then you make them an offer, go here, do this. And they're like, I absolutely am going there to do that. Or again, did we go on to the thing and we talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes, or you do like some of the people that have been on my show, had a syndicated radio show for 11 years now. I've done a few episodes with people. You're like the people who, when you ask them to introduce themselves, they spend the next 20 minutes talking about, and then when I was 5, and then I did this, and then I did, they can't succinctly say, this is who I am, this is what I do, boom, let's move on. Okay. If you get on television and you get a 3-minute interview, that's considered really good airtime. A lot of times you're only going to get 30 seconds to a minute. So if you get that coveted 3-minute interview, you got to know your high points. You got to know how to hit them, how to be able to say that thing, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And the author who decides to put that stuff together and offer at the end of the book, the landing page, or the Calendly link, even for them to engage with you further, or if you're writing a series of books, the link to the next book, or even and one of the coolest things that authors do is they put a teaser of the first half a chapter of the next book in the series at the end of the book. And so then you're finding yourself reading it, and you're already hooked in. You've seen TV shows do that. You watch the show, and then at the end of the last episode of the season, rather than just ending everything, all's happy, and everybody is, and they all lived happily ever after, right? Instead they bring in another plot twist. Somebody dies. Somebody gets shot right at the end of it. The main character's life is in jeopardy. The love of their life is, being rushed to the hospital, and, the last frame is them rushing, or talking to them on the phone as the person, flatlines. And is this person's love interest going to even live and make it into next season? Those are the kind of things you need to have in place. And authors who decide to do that are the authors who are making money. Not because deciding to do that call to action, or that invitation to the next book, or the whatever at the end of your book, not because just as soon as you put that in there, you automatically sell that next book too, but because you've decided to do the steps. Now, that probably feels overwhelming. That's where I come in. That's why I'm always telling you, and I'm going to tell you again today, DM review. DM the word review, DM the word amplify, put it in the comments. Let's get together. I will give you 15 minutes of my time for free to sit down, take a look at what you've got, where you are in the process, from concept to I've had my book for 20 years, and exactly what you need to do to have your book be positioned for success and have an intentional plan. And then I'm going to empower you with the opportunity to decide. And for those who decide, it makes all the difference. You see, we want to feel confident in what we're doing before we decide to do it. But the truth of the matter is, confidence follows decision. It's not the other way around. I'm here to help you. We've got you. We have 100% success making folks bestsellers, and we have guaranteed programs to help you bring in all the things you need and create the entire marketing program that you need. And I would love to work with you. DM the word amplify, put it in the comments. Let's get together today. Let's talk. Let's make the difference in this world that only you can make. Tomorrow we'll get together on our laid back casual Saturdays, which sometimes aren't laid back or casual, but they're intended to be. And we're going to talk about, is the window closing? Windows don't stay open forever. There's opportunities that are available to you right now. Not because I'm closing it, but because Amazon changes their algorithm. Things happen. We'll talk in more detail about that tomorrow. But if you'd like to get together, just kind of hang out with me tomorrow. I'd love to have you here. And until then, be happy, stay safe. Even though I know we're having blizzards on the East Coast and it's snowing outside here in Kansas and all kinds of stuff, feel warm and loved, and have a great week.